A city lies in an uncharted valley in the farthest reaches of Tibet, where there is no suffering or pain. Some would call this place paradise. The creator of this city is not a god or a devil, but a human who has lived longer than anyone else. Sometimes he questions his actions and doubts his plan, but he remembers the pain, the blood, the suffering. He knows that what he is doing must be done. Meanwhile, on the streets of Paris, an elderly woman walks alone, filled with worry and fear. Suddenly, she hears a voice from behind saying, "Grow old along with me." She turns around, surprised to see her husband there, and they share a kiss. At the same time, in Peter Parker's house, he is preparing to leave to fight crime as Spider-Man. His wife, Mary Jane, is worried about him, but he assures her that his enemies are the ones she should be worried about. He then leaves. Spider-Man arrives at an old factory, where he sees an old man giving money to a gang. The gang boss is asked to count the money, and he warns the old man that if the money is short, they will come for him. Spider-Man breaks into the factory through a window, wondering if the man they were talking about is a giant named Wilson. The gang starts shooting at Spider-Man, but with his spider senses, he dodges all the bullets and starts kicking them, all while making fun of them and Wilson. After taking all of them down, a man comes from behind with a knife, but Spider-Man knocks him out. He then notices a strange tattoo on the hand of one of the criminals. Meanwhile, Batman in Gotham is feeling worried. He knows that Talia is in his city, and if she is here, then danger is not far away. He arrives at a house and kicks the door in, shouting her name, Talia. She is there, dressed in a beautiful dress, and gives him a warm hug. Batman asks her why she is here, and she explains that she has business in the USA. They share a kiss, but suddenly, Batman hears a voice from behind. Ninja fighters are there. They came to kill him. Talia steps away from the fight while the ninjas surround Batman. He fights them off, all the while questioning his feelings for Talia. Does he love her? Is it because they were both raised in the shadows of her father? Does he really think he can save her? After Batman knocks all of them out, he tells Talia that those men didn't stand a chance against him. She tells him she had to do it, and Batman agrees as he doesn't want her father to be suspicious. He explains that he knows her father's plans and that he cannot allow them to happen. She asks him to forget about their differences for just one night, but Batman refuses. She uses smoke to escape. Later in New York, Talia arrives at Wilson's office for a business meeting. Wilson offers her drinks and food, but she declines. Wilson asks his men to leave as he wants the meeting to be private. Talia explains to Wilson that she knows he controls everything in New York. She continues to explain how their organizations have been working together to achieve more wins, and today she is here for another deal. Meanwhile, Batman is watching them and hears them discussing shipments that Talia wants to arrive in New York. She offers Wilson 3 times his usual fees, but when Wilson asks about the shipments, she refuses to give him any details. A call comes in for Wilson, and it makes him nervous. He leaves the office in a hurry, telling Talia that he knows about her father's terror organization and that he refuses her offer. He explains that he will not bring madness to his city. Then, Talia offers him resurrection. Spider-Man then approaches Batman. Spider-Man wonders if Batman can hear them, but Batman explains that they are too far away. He expresses his concern about Wilson and Talia. Spider-Man wonders if the woman is from an international crime cartel, but Batman tells him that he will handle this. Spider-Man insists on joining Batman, but Batman tries to dissuade him. Spider-Man throws Batman off and offers him a handshake, asking him to let him help with this case. Batman begins to explain to him about Ra's al Ghul. Meanwhile, Wilson is in his wife's room. She is bedridden and very ill. She tells him that she doesn't want to go to the hospital or see doctors anymore, but Wilson assures her that this is a temporary situation and will end soon. The doctor tells Wilson that his wife's health condition is not good and he cannot do anything about it. Wilson, in his frustration, cracks his neck and orders his men to bring his wife a new doctor. Then, Talia comes to Wilson, explaining that her father can save Wilson's wife. She elaborates more about her father, Ra's al Ghul. She tells him that her father will create an earthquake which will cause Manhattan to sink. Then, Ra's will rise and help everyone. Wilson laughs at her words and tells her that any attack on his city will be considered a declaration of war. She explains to him that her father has the power to save Wilson's wife, but Wilson asks her to leave. Meanwhile, Spider-Man was wondering if Batman believes that Ra's has the power to sink New York. Batman assured him that he does believe it. Spider-Man explained that Wilson would never let Ra's do that, but Batman told him that Ra's always gets what he wants. Spider-Man then left Batman, explaining that he would help him, but he had to visit someone first. He explained that he has a life and people who care about him, and that he can't just disappear. Then we see Wilson calling Talia, asking, "What is the cure?" Meanwhile, Peter went to a restaurant and met his wife. He explained to her that he would be busy in the next couple of days, so she shouldn't worry about him. While there, he saw a reporter on TV talking about earthquakes, floods, and fires, just like what Batman had told him about Ra's. He noticed the same tattoo on the hand of the reporter that he had seen on the hand of the gang member. The reporter was promising that their savior was coming. Then, meanwhile, on a plane with the same symbol, Wilson, his wife Talia, and some gang members were flying to Ra's. Wilson's wife thought it was foolish to chase miracles, but Wilson explained to her that the herbs Ra's had sent had made her feel better. He believed that Ra's had the cure. She wondered what the price of her resurrection would be, but Wilson refused to share any information with her. When the plane landed and they arrived, everyone hated the place, but Wilson saw it as paradise. They started walking to the city. Once they arrived, his men were worried about being attacked or killed, but Wilson assured them that nothing would happen. Ra's knew that if anything happened to Wilson, all of Ra's operatives in the USA would die. Suddenly, he saw Ra's and wondered how Wilson was planning to kill his men. Ra's explained that there were no enemies in the room and that they were all friends, except for two. Then we see that Ra's has detected Batman and Spider-Man, who were dressed as Wilson's guards. Batman explained that he was there to stop Ra's once and for all. Wilson was angry at them, fearing they would cause his wife to die. Spider-Man explained to him that they were trying to save the lives of 8 million people. Ra's told Wilson that they had more important matters to discuss and to let his men kill Batman and Spider-Man. Then, Ra's men started attacking. Batman and Spider-Man fought back fiercely. Once they had knocked all the men out, Batman urged Spider-Man to move fast before Ra's escaped. But it was too late. They could hear the sound of a helicopter. Ra's and Wilson had run away. Spider-Man wondered if Batman had a plan, but Batman told him no. Meanwhile, in a palace, Talia and Wilson's wife were discussing their beloved ones and how they loved monsters with angelic souls. Meanwhile, Ra's was telling Wilson that he admired his spirit and that it reminded him of his younger self. Wilson wondered if it was true that Ra's had lived for centuries. Ra's confirmed it and said that he wanted to achieve his objectives to finally rest. Wilson wondered if Ra's wanted to control the world. Ra's explained that humans are foolish and need someone to guide them and tell them what to do. Meanwhile, Batman and Spider-Man were climbing an icy mountain trying to reach the castle. While Spider-Man was showing off his climbing powers, they fell. Spider-Man tried to save Batman, but he got knocked out. Batman caught him and started to move. Meanwhile, Ra's was offering Wilson a chance to join him, to rule the world in Ra's name. Wilson refused, wondering if Ra's had used his wife's illness to bring him here and make him this offer. Ra's explained that he hadn't used her illness, but he had created it. It was a man-made virus that mimics cancer, and he could cure it. This made Wilson angry, and he punched Ra's hard. He held him, trying to kill him, wondering how there could be a man as cruel as this. Ra's replied, "You." Wilson then accepted Ra's offer. Meanwhile, Spider-Man was having a nightmare about himself and his wife drowning. He woke up to find himself with Batman, who explained that he had only been asleep for a few minutes. They then started moving, with Spider-Man wondering about the strong light Batman had. Meanwhile, Roz was introducing Wilson to his satellite, which he uses to create fire, floods, and earthquakes. He explained that it just needed the access code. Wilson asked for the cure for his wife, but Roz asked him to prove his loyalty first by entering the code and destroying his city. As Wilson was about to start writing the code, Spider-Man arrived and pulled Wilson's hands away from the keyboard. They were all surprised and wondered how he had found the cave. Roz ordered his men to attack and kill Spider-Man and search for Batman. The soldiers started shooting at Spider-Man, who fought back fiercely. Roz urged Wilson to enter the code, so Wilson did. Suddenly, the satellite exploded. Roz was surprised and wondered how the satellite had been destroyed. Spider-Man suggested that maybe someone had hacked into the system. Roz suspected Batman and accused him of using Talia to destroy the satellite. He attacked Batman with a sword. Batman hit him in the face and demanded that he let Talia go. Roz, while fighting Batman, explained that Talia was his soul and his future, and he would never let her go. They were fighting fiercely, but Talia stepped in and told her father that she hadn't betrayed him. Roz wondered who had betrayed him, to which Wilson replied, "Me." He explained that he had known about Roz for a long time and knew everything about the operating systems that Roz was using. Batman and Spider-Man explained that they had been with Wilson from the beginning and that they had been invited to the plane. Roz was amazed by Wilson's ingenious plan and offered them a free way out and a plane to go back home. Wilson asked for the cure, but Roz told him that there was no cure. Wilson was about to attack Roz, but his wife held him back, urging him to stop. Wilson kissed her and stopped. Meanwhile, Talia explained to Batman that helping her father was her own choice and that she didn't need to be rescued. Then everyone took the plane and went home. While Wilson was sitting next to his ill wife, Batman found a gift from Talia, the cure for Wilson's wife's illness. Spider-Man gave it to Wilson to help his wife, claiming that hope is always there.